Hi, I'm David Mulligan. I am the program director for the Scriptwriters Network, and this is the Writer's Block on Virtual Channel Network. Today we have Bill Martell, who is a success story for the Scriptwriters Network. Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome. Good to have you. And we're going to be talking about screenwriting today. So my first question is, tell the viewers the kinds of influences that you've had in your life that culminated in you making the paramount decision of becoming a screenwriter.
When I was a kid, I told lies all the time, and my mom would wash my mouth out with soap. And so the thing is, I had to figure out some way to tell lies and get paid for it.
Nice.
And so that's what I did. I'm throughout my life, I read books, I love movies. I started making little short films at a really young age on regular 8mm, then Super 8mm when that came in. In fact, I'm from the Contra Costa County in California, and I bought the first sound Super 8 camera in the county.
Really?
Yeah, and that, Super 8 sound didn't go over very well, so I was stuck with this thing. But so that's when I bumped up to 16mm, made a bunch of 16mm short films, and
Nice.
Won a contest or two and things like that. And
Back when there wasn't even VHS?
no, way before that. When everything was filmed and you had to cut it on you basically had a hand wind and a guillotine splicer thing and tape, and all kinds of stuff. So I did all kinds of stuff there. And of course, when video came in, it was a lot cheaper. But probably the main reason why I ended up being a screenwriter was because film was so expensive that if I wanted to make a feature film, I'd go broke. So it was much easier to write the feature film and then hopefully somebody else would give me the money to make it. And that kind of never really happened, but...
Okay. All right, cool.
So lies got me here.
Lies, interesting. That's a new one. Cool. So, in your development, in your craft, how many scripts did it take until, bang, you got your first break?
I wrote 9 scripts before I had anything that actually got sold, and then after that, probably another, I don't know, maybe 10 before one that got sold to anybody reputable.
Nice.
And so it was a long process. But the thing is, 9 scripts ends up being like the WGA average for, so I guess I'm average.
Right. Well, you put in the work, you put in the years, and it paid off. And I think
it didn't pay off very much for the first script sale, but
no. But it gave you a foundation and a credibility that allowed people to take you more seriously and listen to your ideas.
That first script sale was called Ninja Busters. It didn't give me any credibility at all. They made the film.
Right. Well, hey, what can someone say? The film is made. What can you say?
Well, whenever I go to a video store and see a copy of it, which I don't anymore, because it was only on VHS in the big clamshell when it came out, I used to buy the copy and then destroy it so that nobody else could ever find it.
Oh my God, really? Okay.
It's that good.
I wonder if it's on Netflix.
No, you can't. It's not on DVD at all.
Not on DVD at all.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's talk about that particular project. That's your first big break. How did it come about? What was the?
That came about through through writing a bunch of scripts and trying to find somebody to finance something for me to direct. I went to Diablo Valley Community College, which is now famous for its Sex for Grades scandal. But back then,
Wow.
Seriously, they never had that when I was there,
What a movie that
yeah.
should be, huh?
But when I was there, it was a free film program where basically there was a film appreciation class where you got to watch films all day long and get a grade on it. And it's like, cool, and make a short film every semester. So I basically took a class, and one of the guys that came in that was a success story at Diablo Valley College was this guy named Paul Curiazzi, who made movies for drive-in theaters. And he'd made, let me see, his biggest hit was called Death Machines, which was literally like the number, I want to say 7 or 8 film in June of one year. In that's huge for a drive-in movie, but he made like kung fu movies. So I gave him one of my scripts to read, and he read it and called me and said, "Bill, I got a job for you." And I go, "Excellent." And he goes, "I need somebody to get up at 5 in the morning and go to this public park where we're shooting and basically dress a set and then be there as the flunky until we stopped shooting at night, every weekend for like a month. And I'm like, okay. So I did that, and while I'm out on set, I told jokes, and some of the jokes ended up being in the film.
Really?
And yeah, because there was some okay dialogue. Paul's a pretty good dialogue writer, but I'd come up with something funny, and it managed to get in there. So a year later, Paul calls me up and says, "Bill, I got a job for you." And I said, "Okay, where's the park? What ungodly hour do I have to get up at?" And he says, No. He had a project that had a bad script, but had cast, financing, and everything in place. And he said, we're starting pre-production in 2 weeks. If you can come up with a better script using these people and these locations,
nice,
you will film your script. And I said, okay, great. I was working at Safeway Grocery at the time, and I took 2 weeks off and pounded out a script. It was better than what they had, because pretty much anything would be. And that was Ninja Busters, and it was made basically for drive-in theaters, and drive-in theaters were dying at the time it was finished. And VHS kind of was new, so it ended up kind of falling between the cracks. But I was out on set listening to actors butcher my dialogue pretty much every day.
Wow.
And then 10 years, I drove a forklift between that and my next gig. So,
really?
Yeah.
Wow. But you continued to write during that time?
Yeah. In fact,
you had the perseverance?
There's nothing that's a better motivator than working a really crappy job.
Right.
And, so I basically, for 40 hours a week, I worked in a warehouse, and it was Safeway's wine and liquor warehouse. And, I went back to them and begged and said, please give me a job. They go, we can't give you a job in the store, we can give you a job here. So I basically did manual labor for 10 years, and during that 10 years, I wrote 3 scripts a year because I desperately needed to get out of that job. And it was like, so I ended up building up a huge number of scripts because I hated my job.
Nice. It was a good motivation.
Yeah.
And it did its work. That's good.